In this video, we're going to look at the thoracic spine as a potential culprit of your low back pain and do specific exercises to rectify your spine. When we're looking for the real causes of low back pain, we don't just look at the low back itself, but we look at the segments above and below the low back to see if they're doing what they're supposed to do. Because if they don't, then that's usually taking a toll on the low back, and the low back has to suffer for it. In the last videos, we looked at the pelvis and the hips to check if we have enough mobility and if we can control the pelvic movements. In this video, we're going to look at your thoracic spine and look at which position it's in and if you can get out of these positions as well. For that, we want to start by looking at ourselves from the side. So try to position a mirror right next to you, or a camera, or have somebody else checking you. And you will also need a stick that can be a dowel like this, or a broomstick, or anything you have handy. I'm gonna take my shirt off to show you better what we are looking for now. So you grab the stick, and if it's long enough, you can just place it on the floor. And if not, you're gonna have to hold it up. But you want it to be in contact with your pelvis and with your mid and upper back. Doesn't necessarily have to be in contact with your head as well. It's just because I have more of a flat back, and for me it's easy to keep my head back. If it's harder for you, just keep your whole spine in its normal neutral position as you would usually stand. So you don't try to really stand up here right now, but stand the way you would usually stand. And what we want to check now is we want to look at the distance of the stick and your highest thoracic vertebra. It's the thickest one here right before the neck starts. So just look at this thickest one, and we want to now look at the distance between that vertebra and the stick. So if you hold it behind you and you try to have a finger between the stick and that vertebra, look at how many fingers can you fit in there. Is it just one? Is it two? Is it three? Try to look at how many fingers you can fit between the stick and that vertebra. And if it's one or less than one even, then you probably have more of a flat back, meaning your back looks pretty straight, especially the upper part. If it's more than two fingers, then you probably have more of a kyphosis, of a hunchback, so you are more rounded. And everything in between there is pretty normal. So you want to have a little bit of a kyphosis that is pretty normal. My back is more of a flat back. So really try to be precise here, but you don't have to be too accurate. This is just giving you a little bit of an idea if you tend to have more of a flat back and if it's pretty obvious, like in my case, or if you are a hunchback and so you are very far away from the stick here, then it's pretty obvious that you are a hunchback. Everything in between there is you can't really tell if it is really a hunchback or a flat back. So don't be too precise here. And we now want to look at if you are actually able to get out of that position. And in this video, we're going to focus on the case if you have more of a hunchback, and then look at can you actually get out of that position, because that is what's way more important than if you actually have a hunchback in a static position, is are you able to get out of it and to actually extend your back. Same with if you had more of a flat back, are you actually able to round your back as well? Because if you're stuck in that one position, that's what brings some the most tension and the most problems for your spine. But if you are able to get in and out of that position, then it's not that much of a big deal. So we now want to look at your extension. So everything that works against this rounded spine. So how well can you extend your upper back? And for that, you're going to stand in front of your wall, a few inches in front, bend your knees, feet are hip width apart, and try to tilt your pelvis back and bring your whole back into contact with the wall. Now you want to make fists, and you want to bring the back sides of your hands all the way up against the wall. So keep your arms completely straight and try to reach up to the point where you can touch the wall. Are you able to touch the wall, keeping your elbows straight and keeping the contact with the wall? If that's the case, if this is pretty easy for you, then you probably don't have any problems getting into an extension, unless you have super hypermobile shoulders compared to all the way around the back. That's very rare. But if not, then if you're not able to, if you are losing contact with the wall, meaning you push your rib cage forward and your mid and upper back is not in touch with the wall anymore, or if you're just not able to get there, or you have to bend your arms in a way, then you haven't passed this test, and it's likely that you have a bit of a problem to get into full extension in your upper back. When it comes to the extension in the upper back, what we often do is we just pull the shoulder blades back, and it looks kind of straight, but that's cheating a little bit. We want to look at if you are actually really able, without the shoulder blades, to extend your upper spine or not. Because pulling the shoulder blades back doesn't really do anything to your spine. It looks like you have more of an upright spine, but it's not really the case. So we now want to do an exercise to mobilize your upper spine and try to get the shoulder blades out of the way by pushing the elbows forward. So go grab a foam rod, or anything that is similar to it. It can also be just a ball if you have like a soccer ball or even a basketball. That might be a little bit too hard, but sit down and position the foam rod right underneath your shoulder blades. Prop up your knees, and now you want to kind of hug yourself and you want to push the elbows away from you. As I said, bringing the shoulder blades forward and out of the way. And now breathe in and breathe out. You try to extend back. If you want, you can tip your head back only if it feels comfortable enough for you. Go as low as possible, and then breathe in and come out again. And again, breathe out and really try to go down as far as you can. And then come up again. Start at a point that is about like the lowest point of your shoulder blades, and you can move down a little bit more if you want, but don't go too far down to mobilize your low back. We don't want that. We want you to stay more in the thoracic spine area. Do that for 10 to 15 repetitions, and then for the next exercise, you grab your stick again, and we're going to be in a tall kneeling position here. You press the stick into the floor in front of you, and you now want to scoop your hips back and lower your upper body down. Really push the stick into the floor in front of you and away from you. So again, we have the shoulder blades getting away from the spine. And in this position here now, we first want to go through a posterior tilt. So try to tilt your pelvis back and round your back actually. And then try to arch, bring your belly and your ribcage forward and arch. And then find the middle between those two. Really try to find the middle, sit back, be in that more of a neutral position. And now from here, you want to pull your belly button in and kind of lock your low back in more of a flat, maybe a little bit posterior tilted position. And from here, you just want to focus on extending the upper spine. So keep the belly button in. It's a tricky one. It's really not easy. It might need some practice, but really try to focus on just this tiny movement coming from your mid and upper spine. Push the stick away from you, and then bend again. Keep the belly button pulled in all the time. That is the trickiest part. And then extend only from your upper back. That is activating the muscles of the erector spinae right next to the spine that usually are pretty weak. The people that are born in a kyphosis, and they're not activated, but that is ideal to activate those without pulling the shoulder blades back and shooting again. So shoulder blades forward, and just do this little tiny movement here, standing back and down. If you want to be a little bit more bend forward, that's fine too, but make sure you really keep the belly button in, lock the low back, and then just move from that mid and upper back, thoracic spine. Keep breathing through your nose into your whole rib cage. Let it expand in all directions, and it doesn't have to be super hard. It's just that we want to activate those muscles here that's been sleeping for so long and causing you to be more in that hunch over position. So be patient with yourself. It might take a few weeks to practice those if you practice that every day, and but eventually you will get to a point where you feel like you are more erect, you're more upright, and that will take a lot of stress away from your low back.